Hello everyone, welcome to 10 Things Missed, where we look at 10 things that are missed. Sometimes it's 10, most often it's not. But I thought I'd mix it up a bit today, keep things interesting. I asked people on Twitter and Facebook if they have any thoughts on the AntMan and the Wasp trailer, or questions concerning any of the stuff in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So I'm going to go through a bunch of them now. This is from Squidward Tortellini. Who the hell is the villain? It's a very good question, Squidward Tortellini. Now, it's not really made clear in the trailer, but from my understanding is, this person here is played by Hannah John Kamen, and this is Ghost.
Piss off, Ghost!
Now, Ghost from the comics is typically a man. They've switched it up here. They're flipping the genre on its head. And basically, as opposed to being somebody else in an Ant-Man suit, like we saw in the last movie, the Ghost is able to hack and also phase through stuff, kind of like the Vision. And we see a bit of that in the creation. I don't know whether this is some kind of experiment on the person or whether it's the suit that makes them this way. I'm sure we'll find out. But there's actually going to be a few other minor villains in this. We've got Walter Goggins, or Wally Goggs, as I like to call him. He's seen in this scene. You can see him briefly just here. And he looks like he's holding that little tiny building that Hank Pym shrinks down, which we'll talk about in a bit. But basically, he, in the comics, used to work for Cross Technologies, which is the company from the first film. He's kind of this bureaucrat, lawyer kind of character. I'm presuming he just wants to steal the Ant-Man technology. Because, that's what all of these films are about, probably. This is from James Stanley. Why do you think Scott and the gang are on the run? Plus the knife/wasp scene. Looks cool. I just wanted to say that. That does look cool, James. But why are they on the run? Perhaps they broke Scott Lang out from his house arrest. There's questions concerning the timeline when this takes place, which I'll get into. But basically, I think it's just before the events of Avengers Infinity War. But no, I think maybe they've gone on the run. It could be a combination of them breaking out Scott Lang, or also the fact that the government still wants the Pym particle technology. This is from Abhishkuk. Said that wrong. Will they find Wasp's mother when they go subatomic? I will say almost certainly so. Now in this scene, there's this ship here. It's very kind of inner space. If you ever saw that movie with Dennis Quaid and Meg Ryan, you can see here it looks like they're going subatomic here because they're those little mites that they're kind of flying past. So I think, we know from the last movie that Janet Van Dyne, she's stuck in the shrinky shrink zone, and it looks like from some set photos, which I'm not going to show here, that she's going to be coming out of that, or at the very least we're going to be getting flashbacks, and she's played by Michelle Pfeiffer. So that's cool. That's a cool thing. This is from John Stratman, who does those amazing 16-bit animations. You may have seen one on my channel. There's actually one coming up this week, but he says, Hank Pym just takes a handle out of the building. Was that part of the roof? Full size? Is there a giant retractable suitcase handle inside the building? All good questions. Now, this is how I would do it if I had to shrink a giant building. I'd detach it from the ground somehow, shrink it down, put the suitcase handle in it, and then enlarge it again. That makes sense to me. Did he do it that way? I do not know. It looks like the handle's a vent. Maybe he hid the actual handle inside it. Who knows? And just going on from that, King Noob says, are all the cubicles and desks bolted down, or is it a shit show in there when he re-enlarges the building? And what if somebody's working late? Also, are there giant poles running down the side? Also, does it have apartments available I could rent? These are all, again, good questions. As far as a rental apartment, I would say unlikely, because this is a fictional universe. That being said, yeah, I think there would be giant poles running down the back of it. Maybe things are bolted down, or maybe they're not, because he's just kind of moving, he's on the run, so it's just going to, when they do open it, it is going to be a shit show. There's a lot of questions about this building. I mean, does it have its own water supply? How does that work? I mean, it have toilets, I assume. So does that mean it's got like a septic tank in the bottom? I don't know. Hopefully we'll find out about all those things, especially the septic tank. This is from Peter Ritchie. Will there be a moment where Michael Douglas asks, are you an Ant-Man or are you a Can't Man?
Ants! Ants! Ant-Man!
Almost certainly, yes, 100%. Oh, yep. This is from Andrew IV. What do you think of a small van turning into a big van and then flipping over the other van? I think that's great. Also, the people in the flipped over van definitely got murdered. Yeah, probably. I mean, people have survived car crashes like that, but, they certainly would not be in a very good and healthy and unbroken way after this. This is from Lil Uzi Burt. What are your thoughts on Paul Rudd getting super ripped for this role? Great! This is from Kevin. Is the small building weird enough for you? Yes, I think my problem with some of these movies, and I think Doctor Strange is guilty of this, and The Last Ant-Man. If you've got these amazing technologies and you've built the rules of the universe into this movie, then you want to see kind of really creative things done with it. And there was a bit of that with the last Ant-Man. We got like the giant Thomas, like there's a giant ant and a fight in a suitcase and a bunch of stuff like that. So I think, making use of the Pym particles in really creative ways, and we see a lot of that in this trailer, goes a long way to make this movie, something pretty great. So yeah, I love the idea of like shrinking down a building and the giant Pez dispenser and running on a knife and all those kind of things. Oh, and the giant battery that's powering that subatomic machine thing. That's cool. Is it a giant battery though, or is it a small room? We'll find out, who knows? This is from Ben Vernal from the Filthy Casuals podcast. It's about video games. You guys should listen to it. It's real good. planetbroadcasting.com. Would you rather fight a Paul Rudd-sized ant or 1,000 ant-sized Paul Rudds? Good question! I think, I don't think I have it in my heart to stomp like 1,000 little Paul Rudds. That would obviously be easier. I mean, unless he had the Ant-Man powers, but I'm assuming here he does not. So no, I think I'd go for the one Paul Rudd-sized ant, because I think I'd have less trouble killing a giant ant with a cricket bat. And also, that would be quite a story. People would be like, there's a fucking guy who killed the giant ant with a cricket bat. And I'll be like, yeah, that was me! This is from Fergal Quigley. Great bloke all around. Will Ant-Man defeat Thanos by flying up his butt and then returning to regular size? Maybe. I mean, probably not, because Thanos is all powered and super strong and whatever. I'd imagine if you tried to go large inside a cavity of Thanos, you'd just be like all mashed and mangled up, because his muscles in there would be too strong. So I think that would probably kill Ant-Man before it killed Thanos. I don't think he'd probably even notice. So, he'd probably notice if there was like a foot sticking out of his ass, but yeah, no, I don't think it'd kill him. This is from E-Man, the Pizza God. Since we know Fishburne is playing Bill Foster, do you think we'll be seeing Laurence Fishburne suit up as Goliath, maybe in flashback, modern day, or not at all? I don't know, from this trailer we don't really know. It looks like he is linked with Ghost. I'd still say, though, even if he's involved in that experiment, I wouldn't say this is necessarily going to be bad, because he's not in the comics, though they do switch things up every now and then. But no, he's traditionally a character from like the 60s and 70s. That's where he kind of, a lot of his stuff came from, until he was killed in Civil War, the comic, spoiler alert. But then he comes back because he's in... Tony Stark builds a version of heaven. It's not important. Is it Tony Stark? No, I think it was Hank Pym. No, I think if we do see him suit up, it might very well be in the past with like an old Hank Pym adventure, because I'd say they're probably old friends, because they're both kind of older characters. But no, I don't know. I mean, there's a very real possibility that we'll get, I think, a giant on giant fight in this movie. But we'll see. So I'd say possibly, and if so, maybe in the past. But I don't know. This is from Rye from Wiggy Wash. Yes, if Ant-Man still maintains his weight when he shrinks, why doesn't Get murder everyone when he punches them? He would have 200 pounds of force on one tiny spot. That's a very good point. Actually, they've addressed this in the comics before. There's a really interesting run, it's a really fun run called Irredeemable Ant-Man, which is basically, it's the Eric O'Grady version of the character, who's now dead and he came back as a robot, and I don't know where he's at right now. But yeah, he did that exact thing. He punched the guy in the neck and he just kind of punctured a tiny little hole in him, and just blood just went absolutely everywhere. So I don't know. I don't think we're going to be getting that in the movie. But no, that has been addressed in the comics. But no, here it just appears like you're just being punched with like a big old fist, big old regular fist. Randy Screepack says, what other Avengers will show up? I don't know. I really don't know, because these, the last one had Falcon, so maybe we'll get a minor Avenger kind of showing up. It is after in Avengers Infinity War. We might get some links to the characters from Civil War, because it seems to follow on directly from that. But I don't know, maybe some minor players. I'd be very surprised if they were like, and now look, it's Tony Stark, because you got to pay Robert Downey Jr. like $50 million whenever he does anything. So yeah, I think if we do get any, it'll probably be minor characters. But you never know. They tend to kind of surprise people with this kind of stuff. This is from Sal from Comic Pop. Everyone should go to that channel. It's great. They do really good. There's this show called Back Issues where they talk about comics from the past, and either they're like, this is great, or they make fun of it. It's really cool. You should definitely check him out. And he's a good dude. Do you? It looks cool. It does look cool, Sal. You're right. I agree with you. This is from Nahum Gale. Why does he seem to just have a tracker on him from the FBI after Civil War when he clearly broke out of prison? Well, I guess he got caught. I mean, they say that in the trailer that, we know Captain America will be on the run from him showing up in Avengers Infinity War, but Scott Lang isn't like an espionage-y kind of guy. He's a thief. So there's a very real possibility. And obviously it's happened that, yeah, he got done. And I think also this anklet, I think this is, from the way it works, I think it's going to stop him from shrinking, I'd say. Otherwise, it's, what's the point of it? Why? Because he could just shrink right out of it when he chucks his suit on. This is from Sexy Matt. From this, do you think that Ant-Man and the Wasp will take place before Infinity War, or will Ant-Man have little or no role in Infinity War? Well, I guess this is kind of the question, but for me, it depends on how Infinity War ends up. Because if the world's like absolute toast at the end of it, then it would have to take place before, obviously. That being said, it looks also Infinity War is going to go off planet, so a lot of the stuff could happen either, say, in Wakanda, which is on Earth, but it's kind of tucked away, or, somewhere else in the galaxy. So it could very well come after, depending. But from the look of it, it seems to be pretty close to the events of Civil War, so there's a very good chance that this is a prequel to Infinity War. But honestly, there's not enough information at this point to kind of definitively say when it's set, but we will find out when the movie is in theaters, but also probably after Infinity War. Then they'll probably be, more kind of open about all of that. David Green says, how sexy is too sexy? That's probably more of a question for Sexy Matt. He is the authority on sexy, it would seem. Alright, just got a few more. Nandove Movies says, it looks like the vehicle Hope and Scott are driving is the Ant Van. Scott's a van from the comics that he uses for his security company. Hashtag AntMan. Hashtag AntMan AntVan. That's great. Yeah, I think so, or some variation on that. My understanding of this vehicle is because, you have to be enclosed inside the Ant-Man suit for it to work. It would have to be completely sealed off, because otherwise if it shrinks when you're in it, it would be a very messy affair. But no, it does very much look like that vehicle. It's good to see stuff like that kind of jump over from the comics, but this version doesn't look like it's Scott Lang's. This looks like it's Hank Pym's or Hope Pym. But no, it's a nice little inclusion. This is from Adam. Why you got so many A's in your name? Look at this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 A's. Wow. Do you think the car with flames might be a Hot Wheels car toy that has been humongous-sized? It's a good word. Or made big or whatever. You know what I mean. I do know what you mean. I actually looked up this car to see what the deal with it is. This is and it says it on the side, this is a Veloster car. I don't know anything about cars at all, but that is available as a Hot Wheels toy. I think it might be a real car, but it's made to look like a Hot Wheels car, so you can kind of carry it around kind of incognito. Also, I think Michael Pena is going to be driving it, because you don't see much of him in this trailer, but he is right here, and the car is behind him. So there's a very real possibility that, yeah, it could be a Hot Wheels, but I don't know. I think it's a regular car made to look like a Hot Wheels, which is pretty interesting. And the last question here is from William Pruitt. What happens to us when we die? Man, that's tough, Well, my understanding is, speaking to medical professionals and the like, and people of faith, that when a person passes away, they often evacuate their bowels, and that's what happens when we die. So yeah, look forward to that, everybody. 2 thumbs up. Is there anything though from this trailer that you think is interesting or fun, or like a hidden little thing that I've missed? Because Ant-Man, everything's small. It's pretty. You know what I'm talking about. But when's it set though? If you've got any ideas of where it fits into the MCU timeline, please let everybody know by doing a comment. All right, that'll do it. Now, thanks for watching this. There's videos here every Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday. We've got a couple of cool videos coming up. I'm seeing Black Panther on Friday, so there'll be a review up for that a bit after that. There's that 16-bit scene from John, a Han Solo Caravan of Garbage comic, which will probably be out next week. Ben from Canada's been working on that, along with Eric doing some animations. It's looking really great, and that's going to tie into the Han Solo trailer, which my understanding, I heard from a guy who is a very reliable source. I heard from a guy that the Han Solo trailer is going to be on Super Bowl day. So yeah, I guess you can just swing back around if you want to see any of that. Anyway, that's just what I heard. It might be like a shorter version in the trailer and then it's the real version's online. I don't know. It might not even be at that time, but it seems like that's looking very likely. Also have a podcast called The Weekly Planet, where we talk movies and comics and TV shows. That's out every Monday, and you can find all the things that I was talking about then, all of it, at planetbroadcasting.com. But thank you for watching this. All right, bye.